God damn it, son. Don't ever raise your hand to me like that again. I consider that a threat. Welcome in to the Bro 4 Squad podcast, where we are just a bunch of bros drinking beer and talking movies. This is episode 156, and I am your host, the mayor, Jeff Hornacek. Thank you guys so much for checking us out tonight for the movie discussion. We're excited to have you here. Very special game we're going to be playing this afternoon, evening, night. What time is it? It's night, for sure.
Thanks.
Before we get started with the movie discussion, let's go around and meet the fellow bros joining me. We begin in the lab with the mad scientist, Brian Banner. Banner, summer is upon us, so I have to ask, as a scientist, what's the chemical compound you prefer to be drinking in your backyard until the leaves turn brown that gets yourself good and drunk?
Well, Jeff, that's a tough one. You're gonna spring chemical formulas on me, just like right out of the gate. I'm actually just stalling because I actually wrote something down. I prepared a statement.
Oh,
but
a statement.
Yeah, a statement. But my computer's being super slow. Yeah, the chemical formula for the beverage that I like is TQ1A H2O bubbles.
TQ1A. Is that vodka?
No, not
soda?
vodka.
Tequila?
Tequila soda.
I've never had a tequila soda.
With a little bit of lime. Really? It's fantastic.
Huh.
It's like
Interesting.
It's a ranch water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not opposed to it. I guess I'm uncultured.
I tried to make a funny joke and it just didn't work.
No, that was really
Move
good.
on.
Next, we go to our enforcer in the paint, Matt Geiger. Geiger, it's summer, so I have to ask, what's a better sporting event to get in a fight at? European soccer game or a NASCAR race?
This is insulting. I mean, I have my fair problems with the Euros, and I don't think they're the toughest of kin, but NASCAR people, those rednecks, dude, they just go places to fight. They don't even care to watch the fucking race. Those are the best ones to fight, for sure. And, I just go in there with maybe like a rainbow flag or something like that, and just try not to fucking leave getting in a fight with all those people. But definitely a NASCAR race, for sure.
I feel like if Green Street Hooligans is accurate at all, the European soccer fights, they happen after the game. They're like meetups.
Yeah, right. I've never been, but I've heard NASCAR races are actually really fun, even if
they're
you have
a blast.
I remember that, Matt, that guy we used to work with at our old job, he was a huge NASCAR guy. I remember he swore by it.
I know people get on to me and Thurman for like loving to watch golf, but I don't understand how you could literally watch a car drive around in a circle for it's 4 hours long.
It's 4 hours
And
of
I would
left turns, Matt. Come on.
Like maybe if they were just going really fast, like a Fast and Furious race, but no, thank you.
Well, I can't do NASCAR because, as you know, I live my life a quarter mile at a time, so the race is too long.
All right, you can leave now.
I got nothing but time.
All right, well, if you have not listened to our show before, we start every episode off with the most important thing in any bro's life, and that is Chest Day. And as you could tell from the title of this episode, this is our third edition of a game we like to call Name That Film. Tonight, we are doing the year of 2020 in movies. Why? Because did it even happen? I think we were perpetually drunk and blacked out last year. So I figured this would be a good way to remember and pay tribute to some of the movies that were released. Now, here's how the game works. I am the host, and Geiger and Banner are the two participants. Feel free to play along at home. Geiger and Banner have each been given a list of 20 movies. Actually, it might be like 21 or 22. I think it's 21 movies that came out in 2020. I'm going to read them a list of 8 plot synopses for a film that came out that year, and they're going to have to guess which of those films from the word bank that movie is. Every correct answer gets 2 points. So, total of 16 possible points if you get all 8 right. I'd be shocked if anyone did that based on previous performances. And each player has one lifeline, sort of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, that they can use at any time. So the lifeline, you get your choice for a little supplemental information on the movie. I will either give you the genres of the film, or I will give you the top billed actor in the movie. And the genres, you may think looking at some of these titles might help you out. You might think it might be very obvious, but it's really not when you look at some of these. I would like you guys each to write down your answer before you say it out loud because we know Banner is prone to cheat like any true competitor.
It's only cheating if you get caught, so.
I will catch you.
Well, you've gotten caught, so you're a cheat.
Yeah, Matt's like, well, you did that too, so I don't really understand how you're good. After the 8 rounds, there is a rapid fire back and forth round with the remaining movies in the word bank. I'll ask each bro to name one actor from that movie to receive an additional point. And then the winner gets, I'll buy you a beer, I guess, or something. If you want to check out previous versions of this game, we did a horror movies one on episode 129, where Geiger competed against Cycly. And then a romantic comedies edition. Who was in that? Was that you two?
I believe so.
I've competed in all of them. I don't think I've won one.
Yeah, well, you're due. You're plus 118 tonight, and I bet on you. The
Clippers
romantic.
are good. Me and the Clippers are good down 0-2. We come back fighting.
Okay. The romantic comedies one was episode 140, just for your information at home. All right, let's get started with Name That Film 2020 Movies Edition. And we're going to go snake order in terms of who goes first. And since the spreadsheet was already set up from last time, Matt, you will go first. All right. Your first plot synopses. Again, this is a film that came out in 2020. Here's the synopsis. After swapping bodies with a deranged serial killer, a young girl in high school discovers she has less than 24 hours before the change becomes permanent. Both write it down. That way I know Banner, I guess, only has to write it down. That way we know he's not. Do you want me to read that again, Matt?
Okay, I'm going to go with The Wrong Missy.
Okay, Matt says The Wrong Missy. Banner, what do you think that movie is?
I thought it was The Wrong Missy as well, and that's even what I wrote down, just so you guys know I'm not cheating.
Okay. No, it is the movie Freaky, which I talked about on Pod a couple shows ago with Vince Vaughn.
Well, we all know we don't pay attention to what you say, so.
That's true. That's actually why I put it on here first. I was like, there's no way they fucking remember me talking about this movie and liking it.
All right, cool.
All right, so no one gets the point for round one. Just put a 0 in. All right, Banner, you have to go first now here in the second round. Remember, you guys each have a lifeline whenever you want to use it. All right, our second film. Barely escaping an avalanche during a family ski vacation in the Alps, a married couple is thrown into disarray as they are forced to reevaluate their lives and how they feel about each other. So, Matt, write down what you think that is, and I will read it one more time for our listeners at home. Barely escaping an avalanche during a family ski vacation in the Alps, a married couple is thrown into disarray as they're forced to reevaluate their lives and how they feel about each other.
Is it The Lodge?
Banner guesses The Lodge.
Yeah, that's what I put too.
No, it is Downhill, starring Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Will Ferrell, like making movies.
And this was an odd turn where it really was not, like, it gets kind of awkward in the middle of it because it's not funny. It's listed as a comedy drama, but basically...
That's just a weird pairing.
Yeah.
His idea of comedy now is to make everyone in the room watching the film very uncomfortable. It's like Will Ferrell's
mission accomplished. Because what happens in the film, the avalanche happens, and instead of saving his family, he himself runs to safety. Then his family obviously doesn't die, and the whole rest of the movie, they're like, why the fuck did you just leave us? What if we would have died? Things get awkward. All right, pitchers duel so far, 0-0. Matt,
at least we guessed the same thing.
I think you guys might get this one. All right, number 3, Matt. A collection of guests are invited to live out their most elaborate fantasies in relative seclusion. Chaos quickly descends.
Okay, that one's Fantasy Island.
All right, Matt says Fantasy Island. Banner, what do you think it is?
I'm going to shake it up, even though I think he's right. I'm going to say The Lodge, just in case he's not right.
It is Fantasy Island, which a lot of people had as the worst movie of all time.
Hold on. Before I officially lock in my answer, if I would have guessed Fantasy Island, would I have gotten a point also?
Yes.
Oh well, fuck.
That's where you got to write it down.
I thought if he got it, then I didn't have a shot. I thought it was like stealing. All right, that's okay.
No.
I have to get hit in the mouth before I like really start to play.
So Brittany's conservatorship just got denied. So we just want to shut down the pod.
So she's free? Is that what that means?
No, it got denied.
What the fuck?
So she's
How are we supposed to continue right now?
Cosby's free. Literally, once people like, I think things are going back to normal, then we have today. Like, what the hell's going on?
I don't know how you expect me to continue this show. People listening to this are like, yeah, dude, that happened a week and a half ago.
But not like protest where we're not doing it anymore. We're just going to keep doing it out of protest.
Yeah, it's a sit-in, basically.
God, she must be really batshit crazy.
She's not, though. I mean, no crazier than any other hot chick.
Like more than Tom Cruise, or I can name you a ton of crazy people that probably need to, have conservatorship. But just because you are going to blow all your money, I don't know. That's a side I should have brought up. Sorry. Just
if blowing your money meant you needed a conservatorship, then half the 2004 NFL draft class needs a conservatorship.
Thurman needs a conservatorship because he just bought like new irons.
There you go.
Again?
His wife actually might. His wife actually might be like, no, but that's not the worst idea.
She doesn't listen to the pod.
The safe place. All right, number 4, Banner, you're up. The plot synopsis is, a woman seeks revenge against those who orchestrated a plane crash that killed her family. A woman seeks revenge against those who orchestrated a plane crash that killed her family. So Matt will write down what he thinks it is. Remember, you have your 2 lifelines. Not sure when you want to use them.
I am going to say the wrong Missy.
Banner says the wrong Missy. Matt, what did you write down?
I wrote down the devil all the time.
Both good guesses. It is The Rhythm Section, starring Blake Lively.
Fuck.
I almost was like, I'm just gonna guess one that like everyone dies, and I'll be like, the Good Bunny or something. Ridiculous. In the Rhythm Section, I almost guessed just to be an idiot. Damn it.
This was a Brosker nominee for the what's the name of the award we have where you're desperate for Oscar recognition?
Tom Hanks?
Something like that. God
Yeah.
damn. Now it's bothering me that I don't know. I'll look it up at some point. We'll come back to it. But the Rhythm Section, basically they try to make Blake Lively look unattractive, which was really where you lost me. No amount of wigs or prosthetics.
Is that possible? I think it was possible.
They failed miserably at it. So the Rhythm Section, it is the 2 a.m. drunk text asking you up award movie that's desperate for Oscar recognition.
There we go. You up?
Yeah. All right. 1-0. Matt leads through 4 rounds, I guess. Are they innings, rounds? All right. Number 5. Here we go, Matt. A young woman travels with her new boyfriend to his parents' secluded farm. Upon arriving, she comes to question everything she thought she knew about him and herself.
No.
So Banner, write down what you think that is. I'll read it one more time while Matt's thinking. A young woman travels with her new boyfriend to his parents' secluded farm. Upon arriving, she comes to question everything she thought she knew about him and herself.
I'll go the wrong Missy.
Okay, Matt says the wrong Missy. Banner, what do you think it is?
I'm going to say The Lodge. I'll eventually get one of these right for The Lodge.
I wish you guys knew what the wrong Missy was, because I don't want to tell you, but you're not even close. It was I'm Thinking of Ending Things, starring Jesse Plemons. A creepy psychological thriller.
One off.
Maybe I made this too hard. I figured it was movies last year. Maybe we at least saw some commercials.
I haven't seen any of these.
No. I've seen. I
think Banner's gonna
2, 3 of these.
Okay, so you saw 3 movies last year. It's gonna come down to the rapid fire round, but still 1-0. heading into the 6th. Banner, you're up first. Here we go. A young couple looking for the perfect home find themselves trapped in a mysterious labyrinth-like neighborhood of identical houses.
Oh, fuck.
Here's spoiler for both you guys. Cycly saw this movie and talked about it on pod.
I literally just watched the trailer for this the other day.
Remember, you have your lifelines. If you use one, though, I'll make Matt guess first, and then you can go. Well, he can't use your information.
No, I won't use it yet. I think... Fuck, I don't know. Inheritance?
Okay, Banner says Inheritance. Matt, what do you think?
Central.
It is Vivarium, starring Jesse Eisenberg.
Damn it.
Creepy Netflix movie.
I wish you'd name like this desert planet where everyone dies, and I'll be like underwater. Like I said, desert planet. Well, I mean,
I thought it was like, the Fire and Ice type naming convention. All right, 1-0 Matt heading into the last 2 rounds before we go to the rapid fire. Matt, you're up first. Here's the plot synopsis. A covert team of immortal mercenaries is suddenly exposed and must now fight to keep their identity a secret just as an unexpected new member is discovered.
can I use a lifeline?
You may.
Lead actor.
All right, I will let Banner guess, and then I'll give you the lead actor. That way he doesn't get to use it. Banner, what movie do you think that is?
That is The Old Guard.
All right, Banner guesses it is The Old Guard. Matt, the top billed actor in the film is Charlize Theron.
I go with the tax collector.
It was The Old Guard.
That's right. I actually saw that one.
This is what the fans want, though. It's tied up. God, I'm feeling nervous here. All right, number 8. Banner goes first. Remember, this is not the end, though, because we have the rapid fire round. Here is the plot synopsis, the last one we have. A soon-to-be stepmom is snowed in with her fiancé's children. Just as relations begin to thaw between the trio, some strange and frightening events take place.
Is it me or Banner?
It's Banner, and Banner, that lifeline is use it or lose it.
Yeah, let's use it. Let's go genre.
Good idea. All right, Geiger, what do you think first?
I think it's The Lodge.
Geiger says The Lodge. Banner, the genre is drama, horror, thriller.
That was a fucking stupid idea to use that. I'm going to go The Lodge as well.
It is The Lodge.
Yes.
Boom.
Good job, guys.
I only guessed it 5 times.
All right, so that puts us in a 2-2 tie heading into the rapid fire round.
Banner hit the jumper at the buzzer, sending it overtime.
And Matt's like, it was still in his hand.
Paul beating his chest.
The refs take 36 fucking minutes to look at the replay of it.
When we see it,
game
2
the night
seconds.
31 minutes to do in real life time to play the last 2 minutes of the game.
Jesus.
All right, all tied up, heading into the rapid fire round. Who went first? Matt did?
Yeah.
On that, I picked The Lodge first.
I went first on. That was technically round 8 was technically my round.
But who started the whole
Matt.
game?
Matt.
You did. You asked me a question first.
So the way this will work, I have the rest of the movies listed here, one at a time. We're just going to alternate, and you get a new movie each time. All you have to do is name one actor in that movie, and you get a point. Okay?
Fuck.
Sounds pretty simple, right?
No.
No. Okay, well, Banner, you will start. Can you name anyone who is in Underwater?
Kirsten Stewart?
Damn it.
I'll give it to you. Kristen Stewart, yes.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so now you have 3 points. All right, Geiger, you are up. Can you name anyone in the movie Like a Boss?
The boss is probably a chick, so I'll go with I don't know, Amy Poehler.
No, we would have taken Tiffany Haddish, Rose Byrne, or Selma Hayek.
Oh yeah, I do remember that movie.
Yeah, no one saw it, but
Looked okay.
yeah. Banner, to you. Can you name anyone in Spencer Confidential? You lead 3-2.
Post Malone was actually in the first scene of that.
Sure, I'll give you Post Malone. We were really looking for Mark Wahlberg or Alan Arkin, but we'll give you Post Malone.
It's fine. Tell me I was wrong.
Geiger, you'll know this. I think you guys will crush this part more than you think. Geiger, can you name anyone in the film Bloodshot?
Let me think.
That will count.
Family. What if I just said family? Would you accept
Family in outer space. Yeah, Vin Diesel. And then Guy Pearce, who was nominated for the Ja Rule Award for the actor who must need money based on the role he took. All right, Banner, tough one here. Can you name anyone in The Hunt?
No.
Okay.
I'm just going to be completely honest.
Yeah, don't lie. We would have accepted Hilary Swank or Emma Roberts, most likely.
Yeah. Never.
Geiger, this is one that Banner actually saw, talked about it on pod, so it's unfortunate he didn't get it. But can you name anyone in Big Time Adolescence?
The hot chick from Modern Family that's hopefully of age.
Ariel Winter?
Sure.
I don't believe so, but let me check on the internets.
Yeah, I don't know. It says an adolescent movie. I'm just trying to think of a fucking young actress.
No, Judd Apatow's daughter's in it. Pete Davidson is the main guy. Banner, can you name anyone in Coffee and Kareem? And just so the folks at home know, you right now lead 4-3.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No. Ed Helms is who we were looking for.
Oh, one off.
All right, you guys clearly don't know what this movie is based on your guesses, but Matt, do you know anyone who's in The Wrong Missy?
Minka Kelly.
No. This was the David Spade Netflix film, and you guys kept guessing it as a horror film.
God, dude.
Oh, shit. Where, like, he takes her to, like, his 20-year...
We need to have a conversation if Netflix films constitute as movies.
That's true, yeah.
Is Netflix the new Hallmark?
Basically. This has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. Nick Swartzen is
Netflix
also...
is the new WCW. When actors are fat and out of shape and old, they just go to Netflix where they can still kind of prolong their career and make a buck. It's basically like this.
Strap up some knee braces, shoot some cortisone, and make a Netflix movie. All right, 4-3, Banner leads. Right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more of these. Banner, I know you know this one, but can you name anyone in Artemis Fowl?
I actually didn't see it. Shocking.
But there's a reason you didn't see it.
Huh?
I can't give you any more hints, but...
Yeah. The fuck is that kid's name? I don't know.
Colin Farrell or Josh Gad is what we would have accepted.
Yeah, I'm never gonna guess Josh Gad.
Well, I remember how much we hate him. That's why you...
Yeah, no. He's like... He's probably 3 on my list. You know 1 and 2, Jeff. We don't need to discuss it.
All right, Geiger, can you name anyone in the film Irresistible? Tried to pick movies where...
Via Vergara?
No. Solid guess. Steve Carell or Rose Byrne. That's the one where Steve Carell runs for, like, city councilman or something. Rose Byrne has blonde hair.
Steve Carell really just doesn't do much for me besides The Office.
I agree. He's like so desperate for Oscar recognition these days. It's tough. All right, Banner, you are still up 4-3. You each get 1 more of these. So, Banner, can you name anyone in The Tax Collector?
Is John Cena in that?
Do we lose Banner?
No, The Tax Collector was Shia LaBeouf with a bunch of tattoos. Running around shooting people.
Interesting. I didn't know he was still a thing. I thought he was in jail for stealing everybody's speeches.
Yeah, you got to check weekly where he's at. All right, Matt, if you can get this last one right and tie it up, I do have a tiebreaker for us because I was worried it might come to this. Right now, Banner leads 4-3, and both of these actors are big time. All right, the ones that I'd written down. Can you name anyone in the movie The Devil All the Time.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Damn it. Actually, let me double check. What we were looking for was Tom Holland or Robert Pattinson.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that movie terrible?
Not great, based on what I'm seeing. All right, well, that was a defensive battle. I'm sorry if I made it too difficult. This goes to show you how weird 2020 was for movies. Banner wins by a final score of 4-3.
That was by far the hardest one we've ever done, just because of the movies. Like,
I mean, the ones I didn't pick were like Soul, Onward.
right?
Like those ones would
Did
have.
Extraction come out in 2020?
Robert Pattinson, one with Denzel's kid that I saw.
Tenet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do Tenet or Extraction. I thought those would be too easy, but I guess this game is pretty hard. My tiebreaker, just if you guys want to guess, because it was the last movie with a wide theatrical release, I was going to ask you guys how much money internationally did Onward make at the box office?
Is this like a Price is Right situation where you can't?
No, just get as close as you can. This was going to be the tiebreaker.
I'm going to say worldwide box office. I'm going to say it was 75 million.
Geiger, what do you think?
I'm gonna say like 68 mil.
It actually did way better than I thought. It did 141.9.
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
How? They released it on Netflix like a week later.
Yeah, I don't.
Or on Disney Plus, not Netflix.
The only thing I could think, because it was only in the U.S., it was the last movie I saw in theaters. I think it was in the U.S., had like a 2-week run, maybe. And even then, people were like, families were kind of iffy to go out. It must have just been released overseas earlier.
Yeah.
That's all I can guess.
Interesting. Well, that was fun because I beat you, Geiger.
I know, I'm terrible at fucking this thing. Well, I had to go up against Cycly against horror movies. I mean, that's just a mismatch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nobody's.
that's like a 16
like
versus
Wahlberg
1.
and the fighter having to fight a guy fucking like 2 weight classes above him. Get off the couch.
Yeah, I've always wondered that in the fighter. Like, I get we don't give a shit about this guy's like a brain, but it doesn't really seem fair. All right, well, thanks for playing, guys. We'll play again soon. If you're listening at home and you have any good ideas for movies to do this with, let us know. We can do genres, actors, filmography, years. The possibilities are endless.
Yours would be fun.
Yeah, yours would be cool.
God, I'd be so fucking bad at that.
At what?
Years that movies came out.
Yeah, that is. I think you'd be better than you think. Because usually when we guess on this podcast, we get pretty damn close. All right, on to the second part of our show, our protein shake, where we go around and talk about what's in our cup, also known as what have we watched lately. I have 4 things, and I am very excited to talk about 3 of the 4, we'll say. Let's go round robin. Geiger, what have you seen lately? I always like to start with you.
The first thing I've seen is they've been playing a lot of patriotic movies, obviously, for 4th of July coming up on like IFC and a lot of movie channels that I get through my cable package. The first one I'll talk about, which I haven't seen in a really long time, but it used to be one of my favorite movies, and I forgot how good it was and how, like, you know, we could have this conversation, but I think we did star-studded cast before, and I think I forgot about this movie, and it probably has the most star-studded cast of all time, and that's JFK, Oliver Stone. I mean, if you want to just throw in the director, too, especially in the 90s. But that movie is just so fucking good. The way it's filmed, every actor, and I think it's John Candy's last film. Joe Pesci's in it. Tommy Lee Jones, Kevin Costner stars in it. Kevin Bacon. You got fucking everyone in there. And I love a good conspiracy theory, which I think a lot of this is kind of proven to be true. I don't know about the Clay Bertram stuff, but there was definitely like more than one shooter that day. And, you know, it was a conspiracy that they were kind of planning this for a really long time. I don't think it's ever really been proven as to why, which is the biggest question. But the scene that's Donald Sutherland, when they're just sitting on this bench right outside I believe it's the Lincoln Memorial, and he just basically just lays it out for you and basically says like, well, who would have the power to cover it up, who would benefit and everything, and you just see like the fucking government building behind you is one of the most powerful things. And it's really interesting too, like being so anti-government and how things have kind of changed now, but like how Oliver Stone got this movie made, because it basically went against everything that we were taught in school as kids anyway, where, Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone shooter, and Commissioner Gordon played him.
Gary Oldman,
yeah, Gary Oldman, who did a fucking fantastic
job.
job.
He can do anything, really.
He can literally do fucking anything, like fucking anything. And Oliver Stone, sometimes as a filmmaker, I think he goes over the top just to be over the top. I mean, I love Natural Born Killers, but some of that I'm like, you're just doing this just so you seem artsy. But this movie, the way it was shot, was fucking brilliant, honestly. And you guys haven't watched it in a while. It's a really good watch. And once again, I brought this up on pod, why Kevin Costner isn't in the same breath as like Tom Hanks and Robert De Niro just baffles me, because when he wants to, he's as good of actor as you've ever fucking seen.
Totally agree. If I saw this movie, I was a little kid, so I don't remember any of it. Two things I just thought of as you were talking. Number one, who is LBJ in the movie, and do they kind of tell, like, is he painted as
like he's like not a big actor. It really isn't about him taking presidency. It's more of about just like.
Well, I thought they would paint him as the one to benefit the most. Obviously, that's one of the.
He would benefit. He was more like consider him in like political, like maybe a Mike Pence, just kind of a guy that's on the side, or George Bush, that's kind of like, he benefited from it, but he's not like an evil guy. He just kind of was at the right place in the right time. But yeah. I mean, it's a lot to do with Cuba, a lot to do with not wanting to go at Vietnam, a lot to do with, JFK.
Is Russia involved a lot?
What's that?
The Russian conspiracy theories, obviously, like the KGB ties that Oswald had.
Yeah, it'll get into that with Oswald too. Because Oswald, that's the thing, is the JFK conspiracy is just so interesting, because you got the JFK part, but then you got the Oswald part where there's people that are saying that he's a marksman and he did stuff for Russia, and then there's also people that say, well, actually, like, he sucked at shooting and he got disbarred from everything.
He was kicked out because he couldn't shoot anything.
Yeah, so it's really interesting too, and especially some of the connects where nowadays in politics, like anytime something bad happens, they always like, well, it's because they're a Russian asset. Like, and both sides do that all the fucking time, and I'm just like, there's like no proof of that at all. And I was like, man, they've been using that since the fucking 60s. But it is really interesting, and to kind of think now that, like, things are crazier than ever, but like if a president did die like that, it'd
be insane.
Back in those days, when you think about it, everyone did. I mean, John Lennon, Martin Luther King, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, like all of them were just shot. Bobby Kennedy, like all of them were just shot. Now they don't happen anymore. But it is really interesting to think like that was just commonplace in the 60s.
This is a movie I would love to do a commentary on. I know it's really long, like even longer than Titanic.
It's really serious. Like I think we'd have more of a serious talk than funny, but
we would. But I think it'd be fun to get into the conspiracy theories.
It is 188 minutes, unless you do the director's cut, which is 206 minutes.
Jesus Christ, Oliver Stone.
That in there.
You imagine being his parents, Oliver Stone. He's like, I actually have a longer version, Mom and Dad. I'd like you to check out.
And just them, just like investigating the case. Like, I think it was like 10 years after it happened or something. No, it was when Bobby was running is when it was happening. But just
does it get into him getting shot too?
Yeah, they see that on the TV and be like, don't you think that has something to do with this? Like, they don't want Bobby in the same reason they don't want JFK. And it's just interesting, like, why wouldn't he shoot him coming up this street? Because he's coming toward him. Why would you shoot him going away from him if you didn't have another shooter? And some of the rounds they were saying they would get off, there's no way of doing it. And then when they go in court and, all that stuff was true, man. Like, like today, we're like, well, trust the science. Well, back then the science said that a bullet was magic and could flip in midair and do all this fucking shit. And like, and they proved it. I'm like, that's impossible to do. Like a lot of the stuff they proved later that's impossible to do. I'm like, and sometimes I don't think it's a conspiracy. Sometimes I think people are like, dude, just say this is the way it is, because it's a lot of paperwork and shit we don't have to do anymore. But
sorry, two more things I just thought of. just because this is like one of the most interesting parts of history to me, and I need to rewatch this movie. Number one, did they get into the Umbrella Man conspiracy? Have you heard this about the guy who was out there with an umbrella, supposedly in a trench coat, who was supposed to be like the signal to Oswald that like you're going to have a clear shot because he's in the convertible, which they didn't know if he was going to be in?
They said, I think it was Donald Sutherland, just named a bunch of things that any Secret Service member, because I think Donald Sutherland used to work for the Secret Service, who was talking to Kevin Costner. He's like, they'd never allow a convertible without like a see-through top. They'd never allow like, and they even said a guy with an umbrella because you couldn't see what was under the umbrella. They didn't touch on that exact. There's a ton of conspiracy theories on this, like a fucking ton. Like the one I've never heard, and this isn't in the film, is that JFK basically stole the presidency because his dad had mob ties, which is actually truthful, I guess. And the reason he got killed is because when JFK took office, he didn't hold all of his promises to the mob, and that was a mob hit.
Last thing,
I don't know. I bet I don't know.
Did they get into the second shooter's second bullet theory about the angle that the bullet entered the senator, I think from Illinois, front seat?
And I'm surprised you haven't heard but it's back and to the left, back and to the left, back and to the left. That's where his head went, and Oswald was behind him. So there's no way a bullet would make, because wherever a bullet shoots, like its velocity is going to, send you that way. But yeah, he goes into that because it shows the Zapruder film, which that guy has made a lot of money, but was also
apparently that's a couple, and apparently they're like such douchebags.
Well, and what's also interesting is they'll show the witnesses that'll say, "Yeah, I saw Gunsmoke go by the grassy knoll," and then the police officer's like, "No, those were fireworks. You saw fireworks." Like the police officer basically say, what would happen, and then when they were trying to interview most of the witnesses, a lot of them disappeared or died, and it was just really weird.
Huh.
Very interesting.
Good one. We'll have to go back. I have a feeling that'll crack your top 100.
I love a good conspiracy theory, and people call me conspiracy theorist, but that's fine. I mean, you don't get truth on the news, so you got to kind of come up with your own truth sometimes. So that's just the way it is.
Is Oliver Stone still alive?
He is. He's not doing films anymore, which is probably good. They'd probably suck.
He's 74. Well, W was probably the last thing of his that I saw.
I think that was in like 08, 09.
Sounds right. Good stuff. All right, Banner, what's in your cup?
All right, so this one is actually watched this a while ago, but it's just been hanging out on the list here. This is a throwback. I used to actually watch this movie when I was a kid with my mom, and it's called Father Goose. It's from 1964. It's got Cary Grant in it, and basically he is a drunk ex-Navyman, and the British government basically pays him to live on an abandoned island in a shack. And anytime he sees a Japanese, based in World War II, and anytime he sees a Japanese plane go over, he radios it in. And
I could do that.
The adjacent island, the guy that's living on that one isn't responding. So they send Cary Grant over there to get his booze, because that's the only thing Cary Grant cares about, is getting drunk on this island. So, our kind of guy. And he ends up coming back with a lady and like 7 kids that all have to live on this abandoned island. It's just good old-fashioned comedy.
I'm going to share my screen real quick. I found an image. Does this not look like a guy who is like about to blow his brains out because his wife just won't stop talking?
Yep. 100%.
Tell me about that person at work you don't like again, honey.
Yeah. Good. It's like I said, it's just good old-fashioned comedy. Used to watch it when I was a kid with my mom, and it popped up, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll give it a little watch."
I don't know if I've seen Cary Grant in anything funny.
I'm not gonna say it's like slapstick hilarious, the best thing you've ever seen, but it's good. It's not gonna even.
But it's listed as adventure, comedy, romance. I mean, comedy is definitely obviously. Oh,
it's definitely there's definitely a huge comedy element to it, and there are times you're just like, this is so ridiculous, it's funny.
Little Banner, tease us a little bit, or don't. your top 100 list coming out in September, does this have the nostalgia factor to bump it somewhere in the bottom few, or not even close?
Not even close. This isn't even sniffing the top 100, unfortunately. But it's a solid. It'll probably break the top 100 comedies that I've seen. Maybe.
I'm feeling that's a list that I have a feeling in like the bottom 20 gets really rough.
Yeah.
All right, I watched, Matt, I think you'll definitely like this, a documentary called Major Fraud on YouTube. This is about, I didn't even know this story. Maybe you guys heard of this. The first person on the British version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire who actually won the $1 million in, I think, 2004. And he was caught cheating at the game. Have you guys heard this story?
No.
Matt, I'm guessing you haven't either.
No.
I think you'd like it, though. So basically, Major Fraud is about this guy named Charles Ingram. And by the way, the British Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, exactly like the American version, except for each question. This next question is for £64,000. The whole time I was watching, I was like, what the oh, okay, yeah. The fuck's a pound? Oh, that's your... For £64,000.
Which,
who do you want to ring on?
But that's not weight, right?
No, it's like their
No,
money.
it's their money.
Imagine having to buy like a TV and it's like 600 pounds. So you're like, God, I want the TV, but I can't carry that all. Like, can you help me?
I live on the 3rd floor. How am I going to even get it up there? But it is funny, aside from the cheating stuff, like just some of the differences. All right, for your phone a friend, who do you want to ring on the telly? You want to ring me mate Tom? Anyway, Major Fraud, this guy Charles Ingram was a major in the British military. And it's actually insane how obvious it was he was cheating when they go back and play the footage. So basically he had 2 plants in the crowd. One was actually a dude who was on Contestants Row. I didn't remember this, but like there's like 8 people there that night. And then to see who gets to actually play, they do like a lightning round, and all the people buzz in. Whoever gets the answers right fastest gets to go up there. Well, him and this other dude were working together as a plant. And basically what he would do is, so let's say Banner is the contestant, right? And the question comes up, and the choices are A, B, C, and D. Banner would go through, and it would seem organic, but in hindsight it wasn't. And he would read through each of the answers. So he'd be like, all right, well, A is Minnesota, B is Kentucky, C is Delaware, and D is Wyoming. And whenever the answer came up that the guy knew was correct, the plant in the stands would just literally cough. Yeah. All right. Well, B is Nebraska. Yeah, B is Nebraska.
That on.
And the guy will go, ugh. And it's cool for the documentary. They're able to isolate that guy's audio because he's mic'd up because he's on like Contestants Row. And I'm sure it wasn't this loud in person, but my God, rewatching this, it's so fucking obvious. It's like insane they didn't catch him. And the documentary is cool because it goes through each of the questions, and then they interview like all the people working on staff, and a couple people like, yeah, that's when I started to get a little fucking suspicious, because he would be like, I know it's not B. Then he would go through the options. The guy would cough on B, and then he would fucking pick B. Like,
That's the best shit I would do.
I won't spoil the ending, but they do have the recording of the phone call when they call up the dude and they're like, yeah, bro, we know you cheated. It's pretty interesting to listen to. It's really short. It's like an hour and 2 minutes. It's called Major Fraud. The quality on YouTube is bad. It looks like someone like ripped it off of a VHS. I think at one point like the little tracking thing comes up on the screen. But I just think it's an interesting story. I love a good like cheater getting caught and exposed, and the fact that they're able to go back and like isolate his audio and pinpoint when he was cheating is really fun. And it's free on YouTube again, so
That's fucking awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I would go. I watch it in 2 sittings, but it's a fucking blast. I wish someone would cheat on an American game show and we could do this, because it's so much fun as they interview like the people running the game show, and they're like, one guy tried to stop the game show. He's like, dude, he's fucking cheating. Like, he's gonna win this thing, and they're like, no, it's fine. All right, Matt, what else you been watching?
All right, so the new Vacation has been on Netflix, and like
so
I
bad.
theaters, and I just decided that first off, they should have never redid this movie. I bet they actually had plans to redo because this isn't a redo. This is Rusty.
Right.
Right.
And Chevy Chase is in it as Clark briefly, right?
Him and Beverly
Yeah.
D'Angelo are
They
in it,
both
yeah.
came back for the end.
And I bet they had plans to do Christmas Vacation again, have the whole fucking thing. But I want your guys to say on this. Ed Helms is so overrated.
Yes.
100%.
Totally agree.
I disagree. You have to be rated in order to be overrated.
We're watching The Office again. I can't stand his fucking character. I don't think he's funny at all.
He's funny for one season as Andy, and then I just get sick of him.
As Andy, the season when Jim goes to the different company, when you first meet him,
Yes.
okay, this is fun. But then him and Aaron is the most annoying fucking thing ever. And
I know I'm not supposed to like him and Angela, but I hate it, not in the way they want me to hate it,
Yeah. And just his character is just so the only fun part is Jim messing with him, but Jim messing with anybody is funny, but he's terrible in this. He's the worst of the Hangover crew.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Even fucking Dave or whatever, the guy that always gets fucking
Justin
lost.
Bartha, yeah.
Yeah, he's better than him. He's not good in anything. I would say the only thing that he was good in that I actually really liked his character was the car movie with Jeremy Piven.
The Goods?
Yeah, The Goods. That's the only thing I've ever liked.
He's in the boy band.
Yeah, he's funny in that. But there was a time where dude, Ed Helms, man, they casted him almost like he was the next Paul Rudd or Jason Bateman for a while. And I'm like, no, he's not even close to it.
Is Christina Applegate his wife?
Yeah, who I love. I've loved her since Married with Children. She is a comedic genius. She's hilarious. In this, she didn't have too much to do, but she is the best part of this movie for sure.
And then Chris Hemsworth is in it too, right? Briefly, he's this is one of his first comedic roles.
Yeah, he's supposed to be kind of like the Christy Brinkley, which
it's
but
so
is he
they already did that in Ghostbusters, so
right. We get it. Is he Audrey's husband, or who is he?
No, he's just supposed to be like the Christy Brinkley.
But they meet him at a dinner, I thought, before they leave.
Yeah, and
they end up going to his house somehow or something.
Yeah, and her name falls in love with him.
Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't?
But I don't know, man. It was just terrible. It was just why? And
at least you didn't waste your money to go to the theaters to see it I did.
We'll get into this in Do You Even Lift, Bro? But we want to meet who's asking for these. You can come on pod, but who is asking for some of these movies?
No, it's a good point. I think what made the original Vacation movie and especially Christmas Vacation so fucking funny is it's such simple comedic premises because it's all relatable stuff. In this one, they're driving around and wacky, zany things are happening to them. Whoops, we accidentally bathed in a river that has toxic waste in it. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous, right? Whereas the first Vacation, it's okay, we forgot that the dog was tied to the bumper and we took off down the highway.
And it gets funnier. I loved it, but as you get older, and you start taking vacations with family and stuff, and Banner can probably start to test this way more than I can, but you live those things, it's not fun at all. It's stressful as fuck. You fight with your wife. There's only about 10 minutes of you actually relaxing. It's
right. It's more stressful. You're can't wait to get back to work.
Basically, the funnest time is you taking pictures and then you putting it on Facebook for a lot of people to like and comment. Man, that looked like so much fun. I'm yeah, but getting there was pure fucking living, breathing hell.
Mm-hmm. And that's why
vacations aren't really relaxing at all.
No, I'm more tired when I get home than if I would have just went to work that whole week.
That's why Banner's smart, because he always takes the buffer day.
I always take an extra day. So if we're gone 5 days, I take 6 days off work.
That needs to be, Juneteenth's a holiday. That also needs to be in fucking law somewhere that you have to take a buffer day. That's just doing laundry, getting groceries, and catching up on sleep day.
Yeah, absolutely. And just not having the scaries where the second you unpack, you have to be at work tomorrow. We'll have to have a pod one time where we basically put Ed Helms on trial. Is this guy actually good?
This is it's a amended version of Defend a Villain.
Say you do here.
I think we've done this with Tim Burton before, where we're like, when it hits your ear, you're like, oh yeah, I like his stuff, but actually break it down. You know,
You like a few of his things.
right? Let's Monday morning quarterback this. You're polishing a turd here. Geiger, what was that on? Was it just on TV?
It's on like FX a
I
lot.
was gonna say it's been on FX a while. I
Dude,
think.
you're making me about to get cable again. Not that I want to watch that, but like the shit that you just randomly see on TV and you watch, it's like I kind of miss that.
It takes all the guesswork out. You just flip through and like, okay, this looks good. I'll watch it.
Yeah,
And
you
it's
can,
nice because you can literally pick it up anywhere, watch to the next commercial, and go on to the next thing.
because between FX, which obviously we've been sucking their dick for 5 years, FX, TNT, and TBS, you'll usually find something you'll want to watch for at least 20 minutes. So, all right, Banner, what else you got?
All right. Watch Raya and the Last Dragon.
Didn't mean to check this out.
It's fine. I mean, I guess I liked it. Kind of corny. A lot of like really overplayed, silly jokes. I think it was great for kids, but just as a straight up Disney animated movie, meh.
Was there any music in it?
No.
The animation looked pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean the animation was great. But I mean, I think we're in a day and age now where it doesn't matter who's producing it, the animation's going to look good. It doesn't matter if it's DreamWorks or Disney, Pixar, Illuminations. It really doesn't matter. It's all going to look good. The story was just kind of meh, like I said.
Now, for the other parents listening at home, maybe specifically Henrik, did your daughter at least get entertainment out of it? Because I'm sure
100%.
that-
100%.
Okay, well, that's where the value is. I think.
Here's the problem with it. It's fine once or twice, but if your kid gets hooked on it and you have to watch this 50 million times in a week, Geiger's probably getting ready to get to this point here pretty quick. It's not one of those ones you want them hooked on.
Oh yeah, that time is coming, Matt. Be ready for it. And you can't lie and be like, no, I lost the DVD, because they know how to use the fucking streaming services.
Yeah,
Kids come out of the womb with
I have
fire
my
stickers.
separate room, so I'll just go in the other room and watch TV.
there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and knock another one out here too, real quick, Jeff. Along the same lines, watched Luca on Disney Plus, Pixar movie.
Disney did no marketing for this. I was like kind of confused when it dropped.
Yeah,
Launches his rise.
is it about what?
Luka Doncic.
Yes, 100% about Luka Doncic.
Story before he was at the Mavs.
For a Pixar movie, it's really not sad. I was surprised.
Huh.
Yeah, like most Pixar movies have that element of like really deep feelies, and this doesn't. It's a good
Interesting.
movie. I liked it. It was fun. Just doesn't have the feelies that we've come accustomed to.
Does this one have music?
Not like sing along, like banger music. No.
Okay. Like no character breaks into song.
No.
Okay, that's what I was meaning.
No.
When was the last time Pixar had a musical? Because Onward, no. Soul, no. Raya, no. Luca, no.
I don't know that they've ever had one, have they?
Sing
Frozen, Sing.
Frozen's not Pixar though.
is Sing Pixar?
Sing is DreamWorks, or it might be Illuminations, the same people that did Despicables. Sing is a good movie.
Frozen isn't Pixar?
No, it's just Disney animation.
Hmm.
Very difficult to discern the difference, though.
Interesting. All right, I'll jump in. I watched on HBO Max Mayor of Easttown with Kate Winslet.
Thurman's been trying to get me to get on this.
Oh my god, you have to watch it, dude.
Is it a show or a movie?
Yes, it's a show. It's I think 7 episodes. It's basically like True Detective, but the good season.
Okay.
Guy Pearce is in it also. Evan Peters, Roy from The Office has a big role in it. Matt.
Okay.
Small town girl gets murdered. A lot of shady shit surrounding her. A lot of good suspects. and things unravel from there. And the ending, let me just say this. The fiance and I were watching it. We think everything's wrapped up, but we're like, there's like 30 minutes left. Like, what else is going to happen? And then something happens, and you're like, holy shit. I think I watched
Does it leave it open for season 2?
No, I don't think so.
That's
So
good.
it is True Detective style. If they make another one, it'll be anthology.
Yeah, I would think so. But her name is Mare, and she lives in Easttown, Pennsylvania, so I don't really know if they could have to do a different naming convention. But it's good. And Guy Pearce, I don't know what is about him, man, but everything he's in, that's why when he does things like Bloodshot, I'm like, why, dude? He's so beneath you. And Evan Peters in a serious role, although his character's a little
Iron Man 3?
What?
Wasn't he in Iron Man 3?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was
one of the 7 Mandarins. Don't bring that up.
It's not that bad, Jeff.
Pretty bad.
Come on. It's 2021. You need to get over it.
I had 2 more things. Let me say one really quick. I watched a Netflix original movie called Good on Paper. It's a comedy sort of drama. It stars Elijah Schlesinger, who's a stand-up comedian who you guys have probably seen.
Yeah. Was it good on paper, but just not a good movie?
It's okay on paper and okay as a movie, but the premise is Elijah Schlesinger plays kind of herself, like a middling comedian living in Los Angeles. She meets this guy on an airplane. He's kind of a fucking dweeb. They become friends. They sort of start dating. And then she starts to suspect that maybe everything he's told her about himself is total bullshit. And it kind of goes from there. It doesn't become like a whodunit or like some crazy twist at the end, but it's kind of interesting. Although one thing I have to say, Elijah Schlesinger, pretty good actress. I don't think she's funny at all. Like, this is one of those movies where it like cuts between the film and like her doing stand-up routines. And I never laughed once at her stand-up. It's not like cringy bad, but it's just like, when is the punchline? So kind of awkward in that regard. As far as Netflix trash goes, this is like, it's definitely below like the echelon of the old guard, but it's definitely better than something like Holidate or like The Kissing Booth. Matt, what was that movie we liked with the guy from Workaholics and Alexander Daddario? Or I guess we kind of liked it.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
It
was like a Groundhog's Day thing where he kept going back in time, and I can't remember what that was called.
When We First Met is what it's called. It was on Netflix. It's probably like a tier below When We First Met. Maybe not a tier, like a notch. If that makes sense.
All right.
It's called Good on Paper. I got one more thing, but it needs its own discussion. Matt, you got anything else?
Yeah, I got one more thing to say, but it's like 4 movies. But it's like a question for everyone. So I watched the original Ghostbusters, the original Batman. And
wow. Didn't see that coming.
We've been on this pod talking very lately about how some of these movies are just way too fucking long. And especially when, we're all like married now, and some of us have kids and shit. We got a lot of stuff to do. Like, it'd be nice if some of these movies were like 1:50 instead of 2 hours and 30 minutes, especially for like ones that don't really need to be that long. So let me ask you, the new Ghostbusters sucks, I know, but let's just use it as an example. And then
the Paul Rudd one that's not out yet, or the one with all the females?
The one with all the females, because we don't know what the Paul Rudd one's going to be like. And then let's use Batman Begins. So the original Ghostbusters, the original Batman, like scene 1, they've been Ghostbusters and Batman for like a year, probably more. There's no built up. There's no like, the Ghostbusters meeting in fucking high school chemistry class and saying, oh yeah, we're going to do, none of that shit. None of Bruce Wayne. Now, I get on the original Batman, they do go back and show his parents dying, but scene 1, he's Batman. Like, and there's no like, oh, first off, I did a match. You know what I'm saying? So and both of them were good movies in my opinion, but don't you think Hollywood now, especially when we're seeing Spider-Man for like the 8th time, that we don't need all the fucking, before he was Spider-Man shit? Like, we get it. We know he was bit by a spider at a field trip. We know that Batman's parents died. Don't you think we need to start getting to some of these movies that dude, just fucking have them be like Ghostbusters year 2. Like, we don't need to see all this shit coming up. Unless it maybe connects to a bigger universe like Marvel, that's kind of cool. But I'm getting sick of seeing oh, this is what Clark Kent did when he was 8 years old in, third grade. I'm like, I don't care. Just make him Superman and cut the fucking movie like half an hour out of it. I'd like to hear
I agree with you 100%. I think a perfect example is you need to make a character like Han Solo. Mysterious, but a good character. Then you go back 25, 30 years later, whatever it was, and you can make their origin story in Solo. We don't need the beginning of it because we may not actually like that person. Does that make sense?
No,
Yes.
I agree. Matt, you're 1000% on point with this one. And that's why, okay, Spider-Man Homecoming, if that movie would have been Spider-Man's origin again, I would not have fucking seen it. Like, it would have been like you just said, dude, we fucking get it. Also, if I'm a director, isn't it easier if you can just jump right into whatever story you want to tell instead of doing the origin? Like the Robert Pattinson Batman coming out, I'm guessing based on what I've seen in the trailers that it's more like the Keaton Batman where he's already Batman when it starts.
Right. And just like Aquaman, I mean, they had like 3 or 4 scenes, they had to get some kid actor, fighting with William Dafoe on a beach. I'm like, I don't need this scene. There's like 15 minutes, done. Cut it.
Mm-hmm.
Get it out of here. I don't need
your
this.
top bill isn't even in that movie for like 40 minutes.
I know. And that I don't get where I don't know why we've been stupider as a society. If you're going into this film, even if you're not a comic book fan, like, I get it. He's Aquaman. He's like, king of the ocean. Oh, his mom did that? Okay, that's like 10 minutes. Catch me up on it. Then let's get to him being Aquaman. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I'm to the point now. I think if anything is over 2 hours, you either need to edit it down or just make it another movie. Because I don't know if it's just because I'm getting old, dude, but I'm totally with you. I'm at the point now. If I look at the runtime for something, unless it's a commentary for us, I'm like, dude, I'm just not gonna fucking watch that if it's like 2.5 hours.
I get Endgame being over 2 hours. That's like a culmination of a ton of fucking movies, ton of fucking characters. But like Iron Man,
they earned it though. They earned that 2.5 hours.
Yeah, Iron Man 3 or 2 doesn't need to be over fucking 2 hours. Spider-Man 4 doesn't need to be over fucking 2 hours. If it's just Spider-Man and Hobgoblin, we don't need.
And I don't know why the studios would want that because at the end of the day, it's all about the dollar bill. The shorter the screening, the more you can cram in during a day,
Yes. Just some of these movies, man. Like Cruella was one that I watched. Me and my wife just wanted to go watch a movie. We got a babysitter, and I looked. I'm like, this thing is 2 hours and 15 fucking minutes long. Like, why?
Dude, In the Heights was 2.5.
Like, what the fuck?
To segue off that, Geiger, do you want to talk about Cruella now? I want to know your thoughts on it because I absolutely loved it. I don't know if you guys enjoyed it.
I did love it. The only thing is, I know that you all know that I'm a big advocate for music and film. I feel like they were doing that in spite of me because you couldn't go 10 minutes without a tune playing in the song.
Dude, the soundtrack on that was like Guardians of the Galaxy-esque.
It was awesome. I liked all the music, but after a while, I'm like, okay, we don't need. And of course, ending it with Rolling Stones' "Sympathy of the Devil," and they did my favorite thing. They did good music. Rolling Stones' "Sympathy for the Devil," I'll take an example, but they didn't have some weird new band doing it. Just fucking have the original artist playing it. I
wasn't
fucking love
Alien Ant Farm playing.
Right. It was a good movie, man. I'm very excited to see where they go from here. I was involved in the story. I liked the 2 guys. The one guy was from Yesterday. The other guy was from
Richard Jewell
story.
Yeah. And the Tonya Harding story. Yeah.
Yeah. And Emma Stone was fucking fantastic. I mean, it was basically Devil Wears Prada meets Batman Returns, but I like both those movies, so it was fine.
I was surprised. I thought it wasn't like super dark, but it was definitely darker than I thought Disney would go.
It was darker than any Disney movie and a very more complete story and well acted, more than I've ever seen in live action Disney.
Yeah. Emma Stone, you could tell, was just having a fucking blast. That's what Jared Leto thinks he looks like on film.
But that's what we said, guys. This is a story we've never seen before, so it was good. You're not remaking a story that like Lion King or Aladdin that's perfect. Now, if they would have done Lion King 2 live action and came up with a new story, or Aladdin, if those movies sucked or did a different story, that'd be totally different. but they basically redid like perfection. That's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, nowadays, any story we haven't been told, it feels like such a rarity in Hollywood. Everything's a fucking prequel, retelling, which this was a
Soft
prequel,
reboot.
but again, this was a prequel technically to the 101 Dalmatians, but I mean, really could not be different in terms of the story it's telling. It's a character piece. It was like
Very
a Disney
good.
version of Joker.
Nice. I didn't really see the twist coming, honestly. So
Awesome. Are you done, Matt? You got anything else?
yeah, that's it.
Banner?
All right, I got one last thing. I watched Backdraft on HBO Max. Guys, I forgot how great of a fucking movie that is.
What is Backdraft?
It's got Kurt Russell and one of the Baldwin brothers in it. And they're brothers in Chicago at a fire station, and there's an arsonist that is lighting fires and blowing people up. And they go on to solve it, kind of.
Please.
Billy Baldwin.
You're
Donald
fucking
Sutherland.
Billy
Wow.
Baldwin.
Billy Baldwin, aren't you? Ron Howard directed it.
Baldwins are dead. Good South Park.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, it's a fucking great movie. The pyrotechnics and like the practical sets on this movie, they're better than any CGI that you can ever make. You can tell that it's real fire. You can tell that like shit is burning. It's not computer generated.
Thriller action is the genre here, and considering it came out in 1991, I gotta ask Banner, do you think this lends itself to a commentary?
I think so. I mean, we'd just be yes, we definitely could. Donald Sutherland is actually great in this, though.
He's great in everything.
Oh yeah, he's like the goat. Okay, so they made
he plays a serial arsonist that's actually incarcerated, but De Niro,
for the Lambs deal.
yeah, kind of. He keeps going back to him as like, kind of like, hey, how does your mind work so I can catch this other guy?
Oh yeah. So Backdraft 2, the sequel, came out straight to video in 2019. Guess whether or not Billy Baldwin agreed to come back?
Of course he did.
Yeah, he had nothing else. Well, was that during the Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas?
He's like, look, guys, I might have Flintstones commitments. Actually, now that I'm looking at this, though, Donald Sutherland came back too.
He's actually not too like he'll do some bad roles.
If the money's there, I'm trying to see. I think what was Kurt Russell's character's name? Okay, so he plays Brian McCaffrey in the original Backdraft, and in Backdraft 2, oh no, sorry, Baldwin plays McCaffrey. Okay, so the other lead, they just replace Kurt Russell with some guy playing Billy Baldwin's brother in the second one. It's pretty stupid.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Straight to video starring Billy Baldwin. That could be a whole name that movie game.
God.
All right, last thing that I watched was
Speaking of brothers in movies, can we hear your review now?
F9: The Fast Saga. I saw it. I gotta say, Matt, I did that Dolby theater again with the sound, and that part was fucking sick.
Makes any movie better, especially a movie like that with cars.
Yes, this was when I was like, all right, we got to do that because they still have right. They still have the recliners too, so I was like, all right, because the IMAX theater where I'm at just has the old-fashioned seats. It sucks. But
Call me old, but I don't like IMAX. I don't know. I have to move my head to watch this TV.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not the biggest fan. If you've listened to the podcast for a while, you know that I'm a huge Fast and Furious fan, and I'm not even being ironic. I love the franchise, especially after having to wait an extra year for this one. I was very excited to go see it, and for the first 90% of the movie, it is just good old-fashioned fun. You're back with the family. The action is ridiculous. The plot is ridiculous. The way they explain all the twists are absolutely ridiculous. I'm totally into it. My Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift crew all comes back. Lil Bow Wow is now Chubby Bow Wow. Love seeing him again. And actually, Ludacris and Tyrese relentlessly make fun of him because his name is Twinkie, which I thought was pretty funny. Sean Boswell, of course, is back. Huh?
Is The Rock in this?
The Rock is not. He's not in this.
Wow.
Him and Vin Diesel.
Him and Diesel, they don't get along because Vin Diesel's 4 hours late to set.
And The Rock called him a candy-ass
You guys
bitch.
probably don't know this, but I mean, this wasn't just on TV, but The Rock and Cena do not get along.
Oh, really?
They do not like each other, no.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
And then the last 10% of the movie, I won't tell you what happens, but they crossed a line to where now they are in on the joke. They being the creators and the franchise, and it's not funny anymore when that happens. Like, you can't laugh at the guy who's laughing at himself, you know? And that's what they started to do. And I'm worried that we've reached a point where it's just going to get even more ridiculous than the last two, to where it's like, okay, what even is this now? I will say this without spoiling it. When they first introduced in the trailers that John Cena was playing Dominic Toretto's spray-tanned brother, Jacob, who we'd never heard from for some reason in 8 previous movies. I don't count Hopkins.
Like, they had a lot of chances to bring him up.
Right. Especially in a franchise that's literally all about family. I was like, okay. But the way that they explain his absence for what they had to do is actually not bad. And Matt, a lot of the movie, I would say probably a fifth of it, is told through flashbacks to younger Dom Toretto and Jacob. And younger Jacob is played by the kid from Animal Kingdom on TNT.
Okay.
So you get to see younger Vince, which is kind of cool. Remember Vince?
Yeah.
The muscly dude who tried to beat up Paul Walker when he ordered the tuna melt.
Jesse.
Younger Jesse's briefly in it, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that part was fun. And then the way it ends, pretty interesting little after credit scene, and I think we set up the 2-part finale, which Vin Diesel's been teasing pretty well. But again, just a line was crossed.
Years.
Yeah, a line was crossed that I don't know if you can uncross in this franchise. But my Tokyo Drift crew is now fully embedded with the gang, so I'm happy.
So they're coming back.
I mean, at the end, this isn't a spoiler, but Sean and Twink are at the barbecue with everybody. Like, they're in the family. Yeah.
They're in for sure.
I mean,
you don't get any tighter than the barbecue at the end.
No, they had a seat at the table, you know? I mean, when you hear your family, unless you're my brother that I haven't talked to in 25 years.
So what do you think the 10th one will be about? And I heard that there's going to be 2 more. And you said it's going to be a 2-parter?
Right, correct. First off, if it's not called Fast 10 Your Seatbelts, then I don't even want to see it. I can't really say what the 10th one will be about without spoiling this. But there is a villain still out there that kind of ties back into some previous villains. I think what we're going to end up having, this is sort of just my own speculation, is Dom's crew versus a crew of former villains that are still alive.
So you think we're going to see the guy from Too Fast, Too Furious?
I would bet my kidney Cole Hauser comes back, yes. I think DK, the Drift King, will come back. For sure.
He didn't die?
Johnny Tran?
No, he flipped his car, but he was alive.
Johnny
Tran died. Tran died.
He did.
Honestly, though, Jeff, does it matter?
It's true. This is true.
If you could bring back Han, that not only died twice, technically, on screen, once in Tokyo Drift and once again in, I think, what was it, Fast 6 or whatever, when Statham came out. You can bring back anybody.
Well, Sung Kang said in an interview, he's like, I want Gal Gadot to come back in the franchise. I was like, first off, you can't afford her now. Second off, like, okay, Han's death it's ridiculous, and the way they explain it makes no sense. But we literally watched. I think we saw her corpse.
Yeah, we watched her burn.
So at this point, I'm like, what? there's no way you can die then. If I'm like looking at your dead body.
So, like, honestly, it's too ridiculous now to connect to Ocean's 11. I always thought that when it was like Fast 5 and Fast 6, I'm like, if there was heist movies, but now it's got to connect to Jurassic World banner. It just has to.
I know.
Dude, you could argue now Jurassic World is more realistic than these things once you see what they did.
Probably true,
I'm not kidding. Jurassic World, like the science isn't as crazy as the shit that went down in this.
We're not that far off from the science.
Will Cena rejoin Dom, or will he be on the villain team?
I don't want to spoil the ending, but
yeah, we need that.
You can make an educated guess at home.
Did he have a seat at the table?
Since he actually is family, like they're brothers, then he will join Dom.
If I'm John Cena, I'd be like, let me just get this straight. You invite the guy to the barbecue who killed, to your knowledge, your best friend Han, but I'm literally your blood, and I can't fucking have a Corona?
So The Rock, is he out, or is he just going to do like Hobbs and Shaw too?
I have a feeling one of two things. Either their little beef is like kind of played up a lot for publicity for the films, and The Rock will come back, or they'll just put it aside and The Rock will be like, oh, you'll pay me $25 million? Fine, I'll do that. I'll work with someone I hate for that much money.
The Rock is the only one in that franchise. Like, dude, I don't need this. I can get any other role I want to right now.
Yeah. Well, him and Bow Wow, yeah.
Bow Wow.
Bow Wow was probably so fucking glad when they called. Do you want to read the script? No. I'm good.
Cute. It's cute you think they called him, Jeff. The agent was banging down the doors for like 8 movies.
He's been calling them for 4 movies.
I still want Natalie Kelly to come back from Tokyo Drift, but I guess at this point they're like, all right, we've already shoehorned enough of these guys in. Like, we can't keep doing it.
What do they think they are? The
Just
MCU?
Black whole movie.
Yeah. Lucas Black is in quite a bit of this. Plays a very key role.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. That noise brings us to the end of our show, our question and answer segment titled, Do You Even Lift Bra? Where we ask a question that we leave you guys with. This one, Geiger brought to our attention. There was a lot this week in terms of news that I thought would be great here, but this one is always a fun conversation. So we've been talking on this podcast for about 5 years about IPs, intellectual properties that get rebooted or developed for things that we really don't think have anywhere near a built-in fan base. Like things that studios try to bring back, like who are they for? Examples I thought of, Robin Hood, King Arthur, the Power Rangers reboot. Like generationally, who are you making this for? Because you either need to make it for the people who grew up with it, or if you're trying to make it for kids, they don't give a shit now. They don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to them. So the latest offender that Geiger brought to our attention is Clifford the Big Red Dog, who got a trailer this week for its live action film that comes out in September. So our generation grew up with this, like the short kids books with all the illustrations. Normal kids, by normal I mean new kids I should say, have no idea who this guy is and are sure as hell not going to beg their parents to go watch him in theaters. So Matt, I'll let you go first. The conversation of who the fuck is this for, and then specifically to Clifford the Big Red Dog, what's happening? What are studios doing?
So as 90s kids, I guess, like, Clifford was, I would consider Curious George would be cooler when we were kids. But Clifford was, right up there in our bookstores, right? Like, this isn't our parents' generation. I believe this is for us.
No, this is us. I remember getting Clifford stuff at book fairs.
The problem is that as, like, a 32-year-old man, I see this movie and think it's dumb. I look at my kid. He doesn't know who the fuck it is. I'm like, cool, I guess I don't have to see this. I dodged this bullet because I see enough dumb movies. So I don't know who's going to see this, especially during, like, people are just kind of getting back to the theaters kind of slowly. I mean, maybe the Fast franchise brings a lot of people out, I know, but this doesn't. And then a live action movie, because if I'm not mistaken, isn't Clifford like a dog that's like as big as a dinosaur also?
Yes, and in the trailer that I watched, which by the way, the main girl is the chick, the young girl from the Christmas Chronicles. Check out our movie commentaries on those. Clifford becomes gigantic because she loves him so much that she cries a magical tear onto him.
Well,
don't worry, Kenan Thompson is the vet in the movie.
Of course he is. And if this doesn't connect to the Godzilla Kong universe, then it's a huge swing and miss because the door's wide open right now.
Clifford just getting.
It's just like WWE. It's a triple threat match. 3 go in, 1 go out.
Clifford would get his ass worked.
And also, Clifford doesn't look like the Clifford from the book at all. That real dog.
He's just like a big lab. It looks like, who's red now.
I don't know who this is for at all.
Banner, before you go, the analogy I would make, if you're like, well, how do you fucking redo kid shit then? Okay, think about something like the Ninja Turtles, which never really left the cultural zeitgeist. They've had a few different animated iterations. So then when Michael Bay redoes them, kids are like, okay, even though this is nowhere near as popular now as it was in the 90s, I at least know who the fuck those characters are. Whereas Clifford, I could be wrong. I think he had a brief animated show in the early 2000s, but really nothing else. Maybe there's books now, but I know it's not the popular IP it was when we were kids. So again, you just have to ask, like, who in the marketing department at whatever studio makes this says this is a $200 million movie, man?
They just took fucking red Kool-Aid and poured it on a dog.
It looks like he
looks
walked
like.
the dog with a red T-shirt on acid.
And when are we going to stop calling movies with animals that are clearly computer generated live action? They're not fucking live action. I'm sorry. The Lion King was not live action. You didn't go to fucking Africa and film a bunch of lions talking. I'm okay. I'm even okay with putting the voiceover, but they're 100% made up. So it's not live action.
It is a whole other issue. I've actually had that issue with The Lion King recently.
The Lion King and Jungle Book.
I mean, they're both visually stunning, but to call them live action seems a bit. The Jungle Book at least has one person, like a real human. Clifford. Well, actually, Clifford has a couple.
Yeah, Clifford's going to be more live action than that, but still, like, why?
Like, who's the antagonist? Or is it just Clifford just kind of walking around?
It'll probably be like society, because they don't accept him for being a big dog. I don't know.
I always thought Clifford was like, I don't know, taught you how to brush your teeth and stuff. Like
does
the
he
little
talk?
books.
He doesn't talk, I don't think.
He didn't talk?
At least in the movie, he looked like he was just barking.
Right here, case in point. This is the problem. We grew up with Clifford, and none of us can fucking remember a thing about it.
To be fair, it's been like 2 years since I read a Clifford book. I'm joking. It's been like 28 years probably.
I don't think I ever did. I was a Curious George guy.
I was a Curious George guy.
And those colors don't run, boys.
That's true. Curious George was like, that came in hardback. I just remember Clifford coming in like this shitty cardboard paperback. It was like, oh.
I read a lot of Bernstein Bears.
Yep, me too. You'd see a kid with a Clifford book. You'd be like, oh, is everything okay at home? Noticed you couldn't afford Curious George. Here's a bookmark. Ruffle his head. See out there, sport. All right, well, we will continue to ask the question, who is this for? If you have a good example, tweet at us. Let us know. We'd love to talk about it on our next show. Before we let the people go for episode 156, parting thoughts. Banner, you first.
Keep pulling over for those emergency vehicles. I feel like we're doing a good job out there. We just need to keep it up, especially in this heat, It's hot everywhere.
Stats look good in terms of pulling over. You're making a difference.
You see the lights, pull over. It's not the end of the world.
Well, it could be. That's why you have to pull over,
Well, not the end of your world. It might be for somebody else's.
Geiger, how about you?
I'm gonna start a new one. Let's try to keep movies under 2 hours.
Yeah,
Can we
please.
do that?
Please.
How
about any movie over 2 hours, you have to submit to us your reason that it needs to be that fucking long. Like, it's like an expense report, right? If it's over $50, you have to have justification.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I'll leave people with my typical one. Don't be afraid to turn left on those flashing yellow lights, Just give it a look.
Yeah.
Now, don't get yourself hurt, but be an active driver.
Best defense is a good offense.
You should not teach driver's ed. Could have made that, pussy. All right, for the mad scientist Brian Banner and the enforcer in the paint Matt Geiger, I'm the mayor Jeff Hornacek, and we are the Bro Force Squad podcast. Thank you guys so much for checking us out. Follow us on Twitter at Bro Force Squad. You can find us on Letterboxd, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. If you search Bro Force Squad, 3 separate words, and you can check out everything that we post on our website and our squad blog at broforcesquad.com. Till next time, we'll see you at the movies, but only if the film is under 2 hours. Like we said.
Hour 59:59 is acceptable.
Actually, I respect that. That's ballsy. Ask any racer, any real racer. Under 2 hours is under 2 hours.